What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. As always, really appreciate each and every one of you. It's your boy Matty B, and Supercross 2026 is now in the rear view. It's all done, so figured this would be a good time to revisit the how much are Supercross racers making video that I did at the halfway point. That only told half the story, so in today's video, I'm going to try to tell the rest of it the best I can. I don't have 100% certain info or anything like that on how much these guys are making, but I did my best to make some educated guesses and did a lot of math for it, so I think you guys will find that there's some interesting numbers. I think some of the numbers of the top guys in the 450 class and even some of the top guys in the 250 class, there's some pretty big, badass numbers, or at least I think so. A lot of talk about how the guys need to be making more money, but the guys at the top are raking in some serious coin. They have no choice, so we're going to get into all that and more in today's video, but before we do that, got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. They're the ones who make all these videos happen, and they're also offering some great discounts on some awesome products, so please do me a favor and go check them out. These videos would not be possible without ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, and the new S1 Series Single Pivot Adjustable National. Sirius Studio, they can take care of all your merch needs from hats, sweatshirts, shirts, bags, etc. And of course, the designlabco.com, they got some great designs in their lab at their co. And if you need anything graphic related, then definitely look no further than there. I've got links, discount codes, and all that fun stuff in my video description. And if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going. So if you guys are supporting them, you are literally supporting me. Hope you enjoy the video, and thanks again for watching. All right, before we get into the numbers, I just wanted to kind of give you guys the lowdown on how I did all this. Like I said, I don't necessarily have 100% for certain numbers on all this stuff, but I have heard a lot of industry talk about it. I mean, a lot of these numbers have kind of been thrown around, so these are educated guesses. The numbers are not made up out of thin air, but I had to make some assumptions. For the 450 per race bonus estimates, I estimated 125K for first, 50K for second, and 25K for third. I've heard conflicting reports of 100 or 150, so I just split down the middle and went 125. Then for the 250 per race bonus estimates, I'm at 50K for first, 25K for second, and 15K for third. And then there's a unique case of Hayden Deegan in the 250 class on the 450 deal already. He's been rumored to have higher bonuses than everybody else, so I estimated him at 100K per win. Then for the championship bonuses for the 450s, I've heard anywhere between 1 million and 1.5, so I went with 1.25 again to split it right down the middle. And then for the 250 class, the bonus estimate for the 250 East and West championships are 500 grand. And then there's manufacturer contingency. Of course, the privateers are getting that. They're using that so they don't have to eat ramen out of a hubcap in the pits, but I thought a lot of the manufacturer support teams didn't get contingency, but apparently a lot of them do. Some of them even get double contingency. And of course, I can't stress this enough, but these estimates are not going to be 100% accurate, but I'm just hoping that they're going to be at least in the ballpark with some educated guesses and doing the math. I promise you, none of these numbers are made up. I'm not trying to act like I have the exact numbers or anything like that, but I've heard a lot of this info from reliable sources. These should be some reasonable guesses, so do with this info what you will, but we did our best here. And how did I calculate this? It was actually pretty simple, yet very complicated at the same time, but I found the per race payouts on vitalmx.com from an article they did a few years ago. They're the 2023 payouts. I think they're the same as what they're doing now, but I don't know that 100% for sure, so take that with a grain of pepper. But then we got manufacturer contingencies. They're listed online. Like we talked about, we got estimates for the factory race team bonuses. The 450 class has a championship points fund payout from the series included for the top 20 in points, and as far as I know, you can't find that thing anywhere listed online, but I did some wheeling and dealing. I have my sources, and I got my hands on it. And yeah, use all that, and it's simple math to add it all up. And I gotta emphasize this too, this is only how much the racers have made during the actual races in Supercross. The salaries are not known or included. I'm not even going to try to guess. I mean, with all this other stuff, I at least have an idea. I've heard a lot of industry talk about it, but with salaries, I'd be taking a total shot in the dark, and I don't really think that's something that these guys want out there anyway, which not like that's going to stop me, but I don't know the salaries, and there's definitely other ways that these guys can make money, like gear company, contingency money, and personal sponsors, and all kinds of stuff like that, so hopefully these numbers are on the low side, but the purse money and the manufacturer contingency and bonus money, that's stuff that pretty much applies universally to everybody, so that's why I only use that stuff, but I have no clue what their salaries are, none at all, and I think it would get pretty messy if I started guessing all that, so this is just what they're earning from each race weekend per race, but now let's get into it, starting with the 250 West Series. And starting with purse earnings, who could have guessed it that Hayden Deegan will be on top with $51,500 earned? And yeah, this is going to be the lowest number in these lists that I have. We're going to do purse earnings, then bonuses and contingencies, and then their totals. So this is just the per race payouts from the promoters. This isn't from the teams or anything like that. But Deegan on top, of course, total domination with 7 wins, a second and 2 fourths. Then we got Kitchen in second. He's all the way down at 32K from 51K, so that's a little bit more than half of what Hayden Deegan made, so a big drop off when you got one guy winning almost every race. But then we got Anstie third, just under 30K, with Ryder D fourth and Maxwell in fifth at 27 and 25K. And you can see through this 250 series as we go through the points, it's a pretty even spread as far as these purse earnings are concerned. It goes down pretty incrementally, although we got Moseman with a little bit less earnings than some of the guys behind him because he went out with injury, unfortunately. But we got all the names here, even some of the guys that didn't do every race like Avery Long and Robbie Wageman, even Dylan Schwartz. They still put 5 digits on the board from the purse earnings, but like I said, these are going to be the smallest numbers in this video. So now let's go ahead and switch over to the bonuses and the contingency. And full disclosure, this is a bit of a hypothetical national with me giving Deegan 100K per win. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of talk about him having bigger bonuses and higher bonuses with the 450 deal this year. So with all that being said, I told you guys how I calculated it, and I've got him at $1.25 million for all of his bonuses, including the $500,000 for the championship. And that $500,000 for a title, you'll see it in the East Coast too, but that separates first and second massively in the earnings department. It's not even close. I mean, Levi Kitchen's in second with literally 10% of the earnings of Hayden Deegan. So, yeah, definitely pays to win. Fastest to get paid, fastest to get laid, no choice. But Kitchen got that through 5 second places, so he had no issue being the bridesmaid. Then we got Max Anstie at 80K. He had 3 podiums and a win with that first place in Anaheim 1 and then 2 third places. Ryder D at 45K. He had 3 podiums and they were all third places. Unfortunately, Max Vohland and Hunter Yoder on the Club MX Yamahas, they're kind of getting the shaft on this one. They don't get Yamaha contingency. I have no idea why, and in the grand scheme of things, they're not getting the shaft at all. They get pretty much factory equipment and an actually insane facility to hone their craft on. So, yeah, all's good in the hood for that one, but as far as the earnings and contingency go, they're not getting it. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard I try. Maybe it's their level of Yamaha support. I don't know, but they're getting salaries. They're getting paid. They're just not getting contingency. But then we got McAdoo. He got himself a couple of podiums and racked up some bonus money. Piano Man Moseman did the same thing. And then the rest of the class is all contingency money like Barker Ross, Lux Turner. They're raking in Yamaha bucks with Dylan Schwartz and Robbie Wageman. Josh Farizzi made some decent contingency money on the Kawasaki at over $8,500, and then you had Carson Mumford and Avery Long. Neither of them finished the season, but they still made $3,900 and $3,700 from KTM. And as far as the contingency goes, Yamaha and Honda seem to be the best paying ones, and especially in the 250 class, that's what you pretty much see the most of. Green and blue everywhere. It's like if Shrek and a Smurf were getting it on. Actually, that's not a very good visual, but then we got the 250 West top estimated total earners, and then on top, of course, we got Hayden Deegan. Add it all up, and I've got him at $1.3 million or just over it. Pretty crazy figure, and a whopping massive amount over the second place rider, Levi Kitchen. He's at $157,650, but there's all this talk about his bonuses being higher than everybody else's, so that number is kind of only attainable for him, and then $500,000 is what everybody's talking about for the championship bonus, so that makes for a massive difference between first and second. But Kitchen's still coming home with over $150,000 in bonuses, and you guys got to remember, no salaries are included in this one, so a lot of these guys, especially these top guys, they're going to have 6-figure salaries to go along with this, and this is just half the year. I mean, they got outdoors and SMX too, so they got plenty of time to stack. But then we got Max Anstie. He's third, still in the 6-figure range at just under $110,000. And then Ryder D fourth. He's the last of these guys up front in the points. They got a few of those podium bonuses. But then you skip down a couple of places. You got McAdoo 7th, Moseman 8th. McAdoo got himself 3 podiums while Moseman got 2. So that's why those guys have higher earnings than a lot of the guys around him. And then didn't mean to skip over 5 and 6, Max Vohland and Hunter Yoder. Like we talked about, those guys aren't getting that Yamaha contingency, which is a bit of a bummer for them. So it makes them look a little bit worse than they should on this list. But like I said, they're getting salaries too, and they got a lot of stuff in their corner at Club MX, so I think they're doing just fine. But then we got the rest of these guys. They're all going to be on that contingency plus purse money plan, like Parker Ross, Lux Turner, Josh Farizzi. The whole rest of the list, those guys, none of them are getting the bonuses. They're just getting what the promoter will pay them, and then their contingency money. So we got several of these guys in the $30,000 range, and then just under 30,000. But then Mumford, Long, Schwartz, Wageman, none of those guys did the full series, so they all missed some rounds, and they still walked out with 20,000, 17, 14, and 16. But that was the West Coast. Now let's check out the 250 East Coast earnings. And on top in 250 East, who could have guessed it? Cole Davies, total domination from the Kiwi and total domination from Star Racing Yamaha in general. But yeah, $49,700 in purse earnings from Cole Davies. You knew he was going to have a big gap over everybody else from how many wins he had, but then we got Seth Hamaker second at just over 32,000. He's got a similar figure to Levi Kitchen in that West Coast, so he had similar results, second in the points, so it kind of makes sense. But Hamaker second, then we got Bennick third at just over 26,000, almost 27,000, and Shock's right there behind him at 25K. I think Dax lost out a little bit with that DNQ at Salt Lake, but we can forget about that one. It happened at the Mormon National, and then you knew Nate Thrasher was going to pull off that random once-a-year win. That got his earnings over the couple of guys ahead of him in points because the spread at the top is a lot bigger than the spread is towards the back half of the field. I mean, at the top, the difference between positions can be thousands of dollars, while towards the teens and stuff like that, it's like a $10 difference between each position. So if you do good, that's what gets you that big spread. So that's why Thrasher's got more money than his competition. And then we got Simonson, good season from him. He's got himself just under 24K. And then a very underrated season from Henry Miller. Right there the whole time. You can see he was right there in the points and in the earnings. And then Joe Sushi Wasabi Shimoda didn't get to do the whole season, so kind of write off that number, along with Pierce Brown's in 11th. But just like the West Coast, this is going to be the smallest numbers, the purse earnings, because the bonus money is way better than that. I mean, maybe the contingency kind of rivals the purse money, but the bonuses, that's where the big bucks are made. So let's go ahead and check out the bonus and contingency estimates. On top, Cole Davies at $865,000, and he got that through 6 wins, 2 second places, a 3rd place, and a 5th place. He was on the podium at every race but one. Then we had Hamaker in second at $135K in bonus money estimates, of course. He had 1 win, a 2nd place, and 4 thirds, but he also had a crash out. He had some penalties that cost him some spots and some money, but 6 podiums in total got him that. Then we got Dax Bennick, $40,000 in estimated bonuses. He got that through 2 podiums, a 3rd and a 2nd. Then we got Cody Schock, the unfortunate NA on this list, along with Nick Romano. They're the guys that they're in that range for getting bonus money, but they didn't get any podiums, but they're not getting contingency either. So they're doing just fine, but this list is not necessarily an ideal look for them. But then we got Thrasher 5th at $75K. He got that nice projected $50,000 bonus for that 1 win, and probably another contract for Star Racing for next year just off that 1 ride. But that got Nate some cash. Devin Simonson, he got that 1 podium. Amazing ride for him on the night, and I think that got him somewhere between 10 and 15K. I mean, my estimate's been 15K, so we're going to go with that. But those are pretty much all the bonus money guys besides Joe Shimoda and Pierce Brown, both at 65K apiece. Pierce got that opening round win, and Joe had a few podiums early. They both matched each other in the earnings department in those bonuses, but they didn't get to finish the season. But everybody else, they're on the contingency money, like Henry Miller and Derek Kelly on the MX6 Kawasaki's. They're getting those Cali bucks with Henry Miller over $15,000 and Derek Kelly just over $11,000. Then we got Marshall Welton, same team, $7,400. Then Kyle Peters started out getting the Yamaha bucks, then switched to a Kawasaki, got $6,700 in contingency. Luke Neese and Gavin Towers were getting the Honda bucks, and then last but not least, Landon Gordon. Not much to write home about in the purse money department, but he did show up and get that 2nd place at the Triple Crown. And I don't even really think he knew he was going to be going pro. I don't think any of us did. So to just show up and make 25 bands off of 2nd place, you got to be stoked on that. But then as we get into the 250 East top estimated total earnings, you add it all together, and yeah, you guys probably could have guessed it. Cole Davies is on top, $914,700, just under $1 million, and not quite as high as Deegan's, but like I said, I think Deegan is on a bigger deal with that 450 deal, but still $500,000 for that championship bonus, tons of wins. I mean, Cole Davies crushed it. You can't ask for a whole lot more than that, but then you got Seth Hamaker in second, $167,200 in total. And I can't emphasize this enough, guys. This is just from the races. I can't say this enough about how it doesn't have the salary in there, but then we got third, Dax Bennick at just under $67,000. Cody Schock 4th, unfortunately, just getting those purse earnings, so not looking great on this list, but I'm sure he's getting a pretty good salary. He got like a 3-year deal from Club, so I'm sure he's doing just fine. But Then we got Nate Thrasher putting it in the six-figure range with that win and a second place, getting those podium bonuses. Gotta love that. Then we got Devin Simonson just under 40K with that podium and a lot of up and down results. And then skip down a few places, Shimoda 82.5 and Pierce Brown 78.7. Those are the last guys that are getting those podium bonuses. Everybody else is stacking contingency money along with purse money, like Henry Miller for $38,500, Derek Kelly at just over $32,000, Welton at 25K. He'll probably make more than that in the offseason at like the first money race of the year. But Peters, Neese, Towers, just over $20,000. And of course, Landon Gordon coming in stunting at 35K with that podium bonus. He had no choice, but those are the 250 class earnings. Now let's get into the big dogs with the 450 class. Hurf, hurf. And here's where the big numbers are going to come in. I've been waiting for it all video to show you guys. And these are just the 450 top purse earners. This is going to be the lowest number, of course, out of these 450 guys because the win bonuses, that's where those big numbers are going to come in, especially in the 450 class. But as far as purse earners go, Roxon on top at $139,400. Pretty close to Hunter Lawrence in second at $129,750. And they were super evenly matched. I mean, same amount of wins. I think similar amount of podiums, maybe even the same amount of podiums. I mean, it came down to the last race, so it would make sense as to why those guys' figures were pretty close there. But they're a pretty good amount ahead of Cooper Webb there in the third spot, only at $84,650, so a pretty big drop there. But Kenny and Hunter won 5 races apiece, and Coop only won 1, so that kind of makes sense with the spread being a lot higher at the top. Then we got Eli Tomac fourth, just under 100K, and he actually made more than Cooper Webb. Webb only won 1 race to Tomac's 4, so that would pretty much be the culprit there. And then rounding out the top 5, NBA J. Coop sitting at 64K. Sexton's behind him, and he's at 70,600. More money than J. Coop, but he got himself a couple of wins. Well, that's still been eluding J. Coop, so that's kind of the deal there. And then that's where the drop-off starts, because then we got Malcolm Stewart 7th. He's at 50,000. He got himself 1 podium, but he was mired back there fighting for his life for a lot of those races. And then a lot of the rest of these guys, the numbers go down in pretty even increments, or they're all pretty similar. You know, it kind of depends on how many guys missed races or did what, especially in the grueling 17 races, 450 series. Not everybody made every round, but we got Savacci, Prado, Hill, Ferrandis, Craig, McElrath, Marchbanks, Nichols. I could go on and on. Those guys all did pretty much the whole season. Then we got some guys that didn't make all the rounds like AP and Anderson. Pour one out for them. Then we got Mitchell Harrison and Vince Freese. They dogged it out the entire season while Jordan Smith didn't get a start until about halfway. But those are the purse earnings just from the promoters. Now let's get into the real big numbers, the fun ones to look at and mess around with, which are going to be the bonus money in the 450 class. And here's our 450 Supercross top estimated bonuses and contingency money. I don't know if I've said estimated enough, but these are estimates. But on top, we got Ken Roxon at $2,350,000. And guys, remember, I did each win at 125K because everybody's between 100 and 150 on that being a 450 Supercross win. And then the championship between 1 and 1.5 million. So add all that up. I mean, it's pretty easy to get a big number when you got as many wins as Ken Roxon did and a championship. That's how he got himself over $2.3 million and just bonuses. And then right behind him, Hunter Lawrence all the way down at $940,000. And that's still a big number. I mean, I could never dream of it, but compared to over 2.3 million, I mean, a massive drop, and it's all due to that championship bonus. Missing out on that championship bonus was huge because Hunter and Kenny and those purse earnings, they were really close, but that's what's going to create that big gap there. You hate to see that for Hunter. He was so close, but then we got Cooper Webb, $425,000 in estimated bonus money, and if I remember correctly from my math last year, I think he was up in the millions, maybe even close to 2 million, so you know he's seeing red and he's pissed about that one. But then behind him, Eli Tomac, he actually has more in bonus money earnings, and estimated earnings, I should say, than Cooper Webb. He had those 4 early season wins and several podiums and stuff like that, while Cooper Webb only had that 1 win, so that'll do that because, you know, 100 grand for a win, 50 for second, 25 for third. Drops down pretty quickly there, but then we got NBA J. Coop, a couple of podiums, 2 seconds and 2 thirds. That racked him up $167,500, and I almost forgot to tell you guys, this also includes the bonus for the points fund for the top 20 from the series, so that's all added in here as well. And then the last guy with a big-ass total was Chase Sexton. A couple of wins, a couple of podiums, $315,500 for 6th in points. And that's where the big drop in bonus money comes in because Malcolm Stewart's 7th, only 1 podium, and then add that in with his points bonus. That puts him at 40K. Then we got some guys that should be getting contingency money like Joey Savacci, Justin Hill, Christian Craig, and Shane McElrath. They actually did pretty good with the contingency money, especially the guys on the Hondas. If you finish up in the single digits, it actually pays pretty good. So, yeah, they did better than actually several of the factory guys, because a lot of those factory guys, if you're on a factory team and you're not getting top threes and getting bonuses, then you're kind of in no man's land. I mean, there's some of these guys back here like Ferrandis, Marchbanks, and Nichols, where their only estimated bonus on here is just their championship bonus points fund because they didn't get any podium bonuses. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer for those guys. But the guys with the contingency money, I mean, they kind of got it going on. We got Savatgy with 55,000 in contingency, Hill 33,000, Craig 28, McElrath 31, and then we got the guys on the Kawasaki's. Cowie pays pretty good. Harrison dogged it out for the entire year for just under 22,000, while Freezy made just over 22,000. I think Harrison missed 2 mains, while Freezy only missed 1, but they made it work on the Cowies. Then we got Dino just under 7,500 for only doing a few races on the Honda. Harlan and Moran's on the KTMs, 4,700 and 3,700. KTM doesn't pay for the night show. You got to make the main to get paid. So there were a handful of weekends where those guys weren't able to get that done, but they still made a decent little chunk from their KTM money. I'm sure they wish it was more. But then we got Hampshire and Barsha. They're at NA at the National because they didn't get top 20 in points and they didn't get any podium bonuses. But yeah, we got Freddie, Thompson, Clayson, Lane. All those guys that are main event bubble guys, they're a lot of the times in the LCQs. Sometimes they transfer, sometimes they don't. They were still racking up thousands of dollars in contingency. And then Austin Fortner, NA, he didn't even really get to do but a few rounds. He kind of doesn't belong on this list, but he's got 30th in points, so he made it anyway. And then last but not least, drum roll please. Just kidding. I've already been talking for way too long. We don't have time for a drum roll, but 450 Supercross top estimated total earnings. Add everything together, the bonus money, the contingency, the purse earnings, and all that stuff combined. And on top, Ken Roczen, just under 2.5 million at 2,489,000. And it's pretty crazy. I mean, that's almost the same number as he had in just the bonus earnings. I mean, the bonuses, when you compare it to the purse money, those guys might not even know the purse money hits their bank account, but yeah, pretty badass, I think, for a guy, you know, just in the 17-round Supercross series from January to May to make almost 2.5 million. And then this is the only estimate I'll make on a salary. I mean, this is a very generic estimate, but you got to think with Suzuki, Fox, and all those kind of deals, he's got to be at least another million just in salary. So the dude's looking at, you know, somewhere in the $3 to $4 million range of what he's made already by May racing dirt bikes. And, you know, we've heard a lot of talk about how these guys should be making more money. I mean, there are names at the lower end of this list that could easily make a case for that, but I really do think it's badass and really cool that, you know, for racing dirt bikes, you can go out and make millions of dollars. I feel like a lot of people, if you told them that was your job, they would never think that you were able to make that kind of money. I mean, I say you, and we're not able to make that kind of money, but Ken Roczen is, so it's pretty cool that our sport is able to at least have guys on the top end that make really big money like that. But again, big drop to second place because Hunter Lawrence in second, just over a million at 1 million. Wait for it, 69,750. We already talked about the reasons for that big drop. It's the fastest to get paid, fastest to get laid. Big payout differences at the top, but still a good season for Hunter, just over a million. And he's always good at SMX too. He always rakes it in there. And he's good outdoors. I mean, the dude's good at everything. So, yeah, the Lawrence family, I have a feeling they're not probably having any issues paying any debts or anything from back in the day. And then third, we already talked about it. He's pissed. Cooper Webb, just over $500,000. I mean, I am going to have to work for several years to make that much money, but Cooper Webb, just over $500,000. That's a bad year for him. He's not stoked. Same with Eli Tomac. He had championship aspirations. He could have been in the millions, but he's just under 800,000, even after missing several races with injury. And rounding out the top five, NBA J-Coop, add it all together, and he's just over 230,500 with Chase Sexton right behind him in sixth. He made more money, got a couple of wins, couple more podiums, and it wasn't enough to get him ahead of J-Coop in fifth because he missed some races, but it did get him some more cha-ching. But once again, that's where the drop-off happens, because then we got Malcolm Stewart seventh, all the way down to 90,600 from 386,000, one position above him in the points. And I don't know how other sports work. I don't really follow them or anything, but I got to wonder if this is like this in other sports, because that's crazy. I mean, Sexton finished sixth and made almost 400K, and then Malcolm finished seventh, and he's under 100K. And I'm sure the salary difference is pretty big too. I mean, Sexton's probably in the 7-figure range, while Malcolm, I'm sure he's getting paid good, but it's probably quite a bit less than Sexton. So not really sure what can be done about that, but it's honestly just a thought. It's pretty crazy to me. But then we got the guys, the contingency plus the purse money, like Savatgy, Hill, Craig, McElrath. Savatgy just under 100 grand, while the rest of these guys in the 80s and 70s. We got the fast Vince Freezy, Jorge Prado at 108,550. He's got to be loving it here, because even in the purse money, I mean, he made $44,550 more than he would have made in purse money at MXGP, but Still over six figures for a season where he missed some races and had a lot of I don't know man races. We got a couple of these guys in this no man's land zone like Ferrandis, Marchbanks, and Nichols, where they're on the factory teams, but they're not getting the bonuses, their contingency, anything. So that's why their numbers are a little bit lower than everybody around them. But we got some more guys that didn't make the whole season. Harrison grinded out the entire year, every round for $63,050. So good for him there. Smith didn't get to race the whole thing. Same with Freezy, right there with Harrison, just under $64,000. Then Grandpa Earl, he made 21.7, just coming back for 5 races. And then Harlan, he was just over 40,000. Then RJ Barsha, they didn't get to do the whole season. Morans didn't win the $1 Million Secret and didn't make $1 million in Supercross this year either, but he did make 37.7. And then Freddie, sometimes in, sometimes not, 35K. Thompson, he only did some of the rounds at 24K. Cade was out for a little bit, collarbone Cade, but he still made 27K, and he might have made more than that in the pulp race. Haven't seen the final payout yet, but then we got Tristan Lane, actually 41K in the Yamaha Bucks. Then he made a lot of mains. He was at every round, so good for him grinding that out. And then last but not least, Faulkner. I mean, the same number. He hasn't been racing since like January, so you hate to see that. But yeah, wow, that was a longer video than I was expecting, but that's all I got for you guys for today's video. As always, please let me know what you thought of it in the comments, if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you agree with my takes. Actually, there really weren't any takes. It was mostly just math. So if you agree with my math, if you disagree with my math, if I'm just a cooked unit, or anything under the sun, throw it our way. You know we have no choice. But thank you guys again for watching. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one for your choice.